Have you ever noticed something strange about money? Two people can earn the same salary, live similar lives, even have similar habits, but their financial stress feels completely different. One person checks their bank account and feels pressure. The other checks it and feels options. So what actually changes? It's not just income. It's not just net worth. There's a very specific point where money stops behaving like something you earn and starts behaving like something that works for you. And that point is when you have around $1 million invested and actively working in the market. Not saved under a mattress. Not tied up in assets you can't use, but invested capital generating returns on its own. Most people think wealth builds in a straight line. More money equals slightly better life. But that's not how it works. Wealth doesn't grow smoothly. It jumps levels. And $1 million is one of the biggest jumps you'll ever experience. When you don't have much invested, money is still something tied to your effort. You work, you get paid, you save a little, repeat. But once you reach a certain level of invested capital, something flips. You're no longer just someone earning income. You become someone who owns a system that produces income. And that changes how you interact with everything: risk, work, time, even decisions. Imagine different investment levels earning a modest average return of around 7% per year. At $10,000 invested, about $700 a year. At $50,000 invested, about $3,500 a year. At $1 million invested, about $70,000 a year. Now pause on that last one. $70,000 per year without working extra hours. That alone already puts you near the income of a full-time job in many places. But here's the real difference. At small amounts, returns feel like bonus money. At $1 million, returns start feeling like a second income stream that never sleeps. Before you reach that level, your mindset is simple. Earn more. Save more. Grow faster. Every dollar feels important because every dollar is progress. But once your capital becomes large enough to generate serious returns, your mindset shifts. You stop thinking like an accumulator and start thinking like a capital manager. Now the focus changes. Not just, how do I grow this? But, how do I protect and optimize this? Because now, losses feel different too. A 10% drop on $10,000, annoying. On $1 million, $100,000 disappears on paper. Even if it's temporary, the emotional weight is real. Here's something interesting. When you have less money, you take more risk because you feel you have nothing to lose. When you have more money, you often become more careful because you finally understand what you could lose. But at the same time, something unexpected happens. You gain the ability to take smarter risks. Not reckless ones. Strategic ones. Because now you can survive mistakes. This is where things get interesting. With a small portfolio, your choices are limited. But with a 7-figure invested base, new doors start opening. Larger real estate opportunities. Private investment deals. Business partnerships. Better access to financing. Portfolio-backed borrowing options. It's not just about having money. It's about having access. And access creates acceleration. When you're building wealth from scratch, time feels expensive. Every hour not working feels like lost progress. But once your investments start producing meaningful income, your relationship with time changes. You start asking different questions. Is my time worth more than this paycheck? Do I actually need to trade hours for money right now? What lifestyle do I want my money to support? And slowly, money becomes less about survival and more about freedom of choice. Here's something most people don't expect. Even though wealth increases, anxiety doesn't always disappear. Because now the numbers move differently. Markets swing. Thousands can disappear in a day. Sometimes more than people earn in months. But over time, something important happens. You stop reacting to every movement and start focusing on the long game. Once you reach this level, growth stops feeling linear. Even modest returns create large absolute gains. And the higher your base grows, the faster the system accelerates. This is why many people say, the first major wealth milestone takes the longest. After that, momentum builds faster than expected. At its core, this isn't just about money. It's about identity. At lower levels, you think like someone trying to build security. At higher levels, you think like someone managing freedom. And that shift affects everything. The jobs you accept. The risks you take. The people you listen to. The opportunities you notice. You stop making decisions based on urgency and start making decisions based on alignment. Reaching $1 million invested isn't just a financial milestone. It's a psychological threshold. It changes how money behaves in your life. And more importantly, it changes how you behave around money. Because at that point, you're no longer just chasing income. You're managing a system that produces it. And once you understand that shift, you don't look at wealth the same way again.